Julius Davis, a man with a developmental disability, lived a simple yet fulfilling life. Every day he worked at a cozy cafe called Cafe Haven, where he greeted customers with a warm smile while serving their coffee. Julius had a gentle spirit, known for his kindness and optimism, despite the challenges he faced. His days were filled with routine, work, visits to the local park, and time spent with his closest friends. His neighbor, Agnes, was his greatest companion. Agnes was quirky and shy, struggling with her own issues of anxiety. Together, they formed an unbreakable bond. They watched over each other, providing support whenever life became overwhelming. But one stormy night, everything changed. A woman named Evelyn knocked on Julius's door. She was pregnant and looked scared. Julius had seen her before in the park, sitting alone. Even though he didn't know her well, he couldn't leave her out in the rain. So he let her in. That night, Evelyn gave birth to a baby girl. Julius tried to help, but he didn't know much about babies. After the baby was born, Evelyn stayed until the morning. But when Julius woke up, Evelyn was gone, leaving the baby behind. Julius felt scared and confused. The baby, who he decided to name Lily, started crying and Julius didn't know what to do. He tried to feed her, but she wouldn't stop crying. He picked her up, but she kept wailing and he had no idea why. The first few days were very hard. Julius didn't know how to change diapers or how to care for a baby. His neighbor Agnes came over to help. She showed him how to hold Lily, how to change her diaper, and how to feed her. But even after Agnes taught him, Julius still found it difficult. He would put the diaper on wrong, or Lily would cry and refuse to drink from her bottle. At night, things were even worse. Julius couldn't sleep because Lily would cry every hour. He would get up and try to calm her, but it seemed like nothing worked. Sometimes he would sit on the edge of his bed, holding Lily while she cried, feeling lost and unsure. But no matter how hard it was, Julius didn't give up. He loved Lily, and he knew he had to take care of her. Day by day, he started learning. He got better at changing diapers and feeding her, and slowly, Lily began to calm down more easily. But there were still many nights when Julius was too tired to think. His eyes would hurt from lack of sleep, and he would feel like he couldn't do it anymore. When he went to work at Cafe Haven, people noticed that he looked tired. Some of them asked if he was okay, and Julius would smile and tell them about Lily. Even though he was exhausted, just thinking about her made him happy. She was his little girl, and he was proud to be her father, even if it was hard work. The love Julius had for Lily kept him going. No matter how many times she cried or how many sleepless nights he had, Julius held on. Julius tried his best to care for Lily, but it wasn't easy. He was always tired from the baby crying at night, and he felt unsure about what to do. One afternoon, while Lily was crying, his neighbor Agnes heard the noise and came over to see if he needed help. Agnes felt sorry for Julius. She knew he was struggling, but she admired how much he loved Lily. Agnes had no children of her own, and even though she was shy and didn't like talking to many people, she couldn't stand to see Julius having such a hard time. When she knocked on the door, Julius looked relieved. "I don't know what she wants," he said, holding Lily in his arms. Lily's face was red from crying, and Julius looked like he hadn't slept in days. Agnes took Lily gently from his arms. "Let me help you," she said, softly bouncing Lily up and down. Slowly, Lily's crying started to quiet down. Agnes smiled at Julius. "She just needs to be rocked. Babies like to feel safe." Julius watched, amazed at how easily Agnes calmed the baby down. He felt a huge sense of relief. From that day on, Agnes came over often to help Julius take care of Lily. She would help him change her diapers, show him how to feed her properly, and even stayed sometimes when Lily was crying late at night. Agnes couldn't help but feel pity for Julius. She saw how hard he tried, but she knew that raising a baby was a lot of work, and Julius needed all the help he could get. The bond between Julius, Lily, and Agnes grew stronger each day. Agnes felt more like family than a neighbor now. She couldn't imagine her life without them. 10 years had passed, and Lily had grown into a bright and beautiful young girl. She loved going to school and learning new things, but recently something had changed. She no longer came home with a smile on her face. Instead, her shoulders slumped, and her eyes looked sad. Julius noticed this and asked her about it. "Lily, what's wrong?" "You don't seem happy anymore," he said one evening as they sat together in their small living room. Lily hesitated, looking down at her shoes. It's just some kids at school," she said quietly. "They laugh at me. They say mean things about you." Julius's heart sank. He knew life hadn't been easy for Lily. His disability made him walk slower, and his hands shook when he tried to do things. People often stared at him when they went out, but he never thought kids at her school would tease her because of it. "What do they say?" Julius asked, his voice tight with worry. "They say you're not normal," Lily whispered, tears welling up in her eyes. "They call you names and laugh at how you walk." Julius's chest tightened with anger. He hated the thought of anyone hurting Lily, especially because of him. He tried to calm himself. "Listen to them, Lily. They don't know what they're talking about." But no matter how much Julius tried to comfort her, the bullying didn't stop. Each day, Lily came home looking more upset than the last. She didn't want to go to school anymore, and it broke Julius's heart to see her so sad. One afternoon, Lily came home in tears. "They laughed at me again today, Dad. They said you shouldn't even be my father because you're different. I told the teacher, but nothing happened." Julius felt his blood boil. He had warned the school about this before, but no one seemed to care. Enough was enough. He couldn't stand seeing his daughter in pain anymore. The next morning, Julius decided to go to the school himself. His limp was more noticeable when he was angry, and he stormed down the hallways of the school, determined to stop this once and for all. He asked Lily to point out the boy who had been bullying her, and she reluctantly showed him. The boy was sitting with his friends, laughing loudly, as if he didn't have a care in the world. Julius's fists clenched. "Hey!" he shouted, startling the group. "Why do you think it's okay to hurt my daughter?" The boy stared at Julius, then hissed. "Look at you," he shouted. "You can barely walk straight." That was it. Julius snapped. He lunged toward the boy, ready to make him pay for all the pain he had caused Lily, but before he could reach him, a teacher ran up and blocked his way. "Julius, stop!" the teacher yelled, holding him back. "You can't do this." Julius's anger flared even more. "I told you before to talk to your students. I told you to make them stop," he shouted. But the teacher didn't listen. He kept holding Julius back, trying to calm him down. In a moment of blind rage, Julius shoved the teacher hard, sending him stumbling backward. The whole room fell silent. Julius stood there, breathing heavily, while the teacher slowly got back to his feet, rubbing his arm where he had fallen. Students stared, shocked by what they had just seen. Within minutes, someone had called the police, and soon officers arrived at the school. Julius didn't resist when they placed him in handcuffs. His anger had already faded, replaced by a deep feeling of regret. But it was too late. He had crossed a line. The police took Julius to the station, and Lily, terrified, watched as they drove away with her father. Tears rolled down her face as she realized things were about to get much worse. A few days later, social workers showed up at their home. They asked Julius questions, looking concerned about his anger and his ability to care for Lily. "We've heard about what happened at the school," one of them said, "and we need to make sure Lily is safe." Julius felt a knot form in his stomach. He had always done his best for Lily. He loved her more than anything, but now, because of one mistake, everything was falling apart. After their visit, the social workers decided that Julius wasn't fit to take care of Lily anymore. They said his condition and his anger issues made him unable to provide a safe environment for her. Julius begged them to reconsider, but their minds were made up. One cold morning, they came to take Lily away. Julius tried to hold her tight, but the workers gently pulled her from his arms. "Don't worry, Dad," Lily cried, tears streaming down her face. "I'll be okay. I love you." "I love you too, Lily," Julius whispered, his heart breaking as he watched her leave. As the door closed behind her, Julius stood alone in the empty apartment, the silence pressing down on him. He had fought so hard to be a good father, but now everything he cared about was slipping away. When Lily was taken away, Julius felt like his world had ended. Every night he sat alone in the apartment and cried. He couldn't sleep or eat. All he could think about was Lily, wondering where she was and if she was okay. The house felt empty without her laughter. There were times when the pain became too much, and dark thoughts crept into his mind. He wondered if life was even worth living without Lily. He thought about ending it all, but deep down he knew he couldn't do that to her. She still needed him. Across town, Lily cried herself to sleep every night. She missed her father and her home. Even though the people taking care of her tried to be kind, all she wanted was to be with Julius again. She would tell them over and over, "I just want to go home. I want to see my dad." But they always told her it wasn't that simple. One day, Agnes came to visit Julius. She had been saving money from her small job for years, and though it wasn't much, she handed it all to Julius. "Take this," she said. "Use it to hire a lawyer. You have to fight for Lily." Julius was overwhelmed by Agnes's kindness. With her savings, he found a good lawyer who agreed to help. The lawyer fought hard, proving that Julius was a loving father who deserved to have his daughter back. After months of meetings and court visits, Julius finally won. The day Lily returned home, they hugged for a long time, both of them crying tears of happiness. Everything felt right again, and for a while it seemed like their troubles were over. But as time passed, another problem started to show. At school, Lily was struggling with her homework. No matter how hard she tried, she couldn't seem to keep up with the other kids. Julius noticed this and tried to help her, but with his limited IQ, it was difficult for him to understand her schoolwork. Each day, Lily came home with more homework, and each day, Julius sat with her, trying to make sense of it. But no matter how much they worked together, the results were always the same. Lily couldn't understand, and Julius didn't know how to help. At school, Lily's teacher, Mrs. Lawson, began to notice her falling behind. Mrs. Lawson had never liked Julius. She often whispered to the other teachers about how unfit she thought he was to raise a child. "He can't even help her with basic homework," she would say. "How can he expect to raise her properly?" As Lily's grades dropped, Mrs. Lawson became more and more frustrated. One day, after yet another failed homework assignment, she made up her mind. "This man is not fit to take care of Lily," she muttered angrily. "I'm going to report him again." Mrs. Lawson went straight to the social services office, telling them how Julius couldn't even help Lily with her schoolwork. "She's falling behind because of him," she said coldly. "He's just not capable." Not long after, Julius received a letter from social services. They wanted to meet with him again. When he arrived at their office, they warned him that if Lily didn't improve in school, they might have to take her away again. Julius's heart sank. He couldn't lose Lily again, not after everything they had been through. When Julius got home, he turned to Agnes for help. "I don't know what to do," he said, his voice trembling. "Lily's schoolwork is too hard for me, and they might take her away if she doesn't improve. Can you help her?" Agnes wanted to help, but she wasn't very educated herself. She shook her head sadly. "I'm sorry, Julius. I don't understand her schoolwork either." Feeling desperate, Julius decided to make changes at home. He realized that Lily was spending a lot of time watching cartoons, which wasn't helping her with her schoolwork. One evening, after dinner, he sat down with Lily and gently told her, "Lily, from now on, no more cartoons until you finish your homework. You can watch them later, but school has to come first." Lily looked up at her father, her big eyes full of understanding. She was an obedient child and loved her father deeply. "Okay, Dad," she said softly. "I'll do my homework first." From that day on, Lily worked harder on her schoolwork. She would come home, sit at the kitchen table, and focus on her homework before doing anything else. Julius couldn't help her much with the hard subjects, but he encouraged her every step of the way. He sat with her, made sure she had everything she needed, and cheered her on. It wasn't easy, but slowly, Lily began to improve. Her grades started to get better, and her teachers noticed the change. Even Mrs. Lawson had to admit that Lily was doing well. Though she still didn't like Julius, she could no longer deny that he was doing everything he could for his daughter. Julius felt proud of Lily's progress. Even though it was a struggle, they were making it work, and that was all that mattered. Every evening, after Lily finished her homework, they would sit together and watch her favorite cartoons, laughing and enjoying each other's company. Julius was filled with pride as Lily's grades improved. She worked so hard, and he wanted to reward her. One Saturday morning, Julius decided to surprise her with something special. "Lily," he said with a smile, "I think it's time we get you those shoes you've been wanting." Lily's eyes lit up. "Really, Dad? The sparkly one?" she asked excitedly. Julius nodded. "Yes, the sparkly ones." They got ready and headed to the shoe store. When they arrived, Lily quickly found her favorite pair of shoes, bright and shiny with glitter all over them. She tried them on and twirled around in them, smiling from ear to ear. But when they reached the counter to pay, Julius's heart sank. He checked his pockets, then his wallet. He didn't have enough money. He looked at the cashier, feeling embarrassed and defeated. "I'm sorry," Julius mumbled. "I can't pay for these right now." The cashier gave him a cold look. Julius felt a knot in his stomach. He glanced down at Lily, expecting her to be upset, but instead she gently touched his arm and smiled. "It's okay, Dad," she said softly. "We can buy them another time. Don't worry." Julius's heart ached. He knew how much Lily wanted those shoes, but she was trying to be strong for him. "Thank you, Lily," he whispered, his voice thick with emotion. Wanting to cheer her up, Julius decided to take her to a fast food restaurant nearby. "Let's go get your favorite burger and fries," he said, trying to sound cheerful. Lily's face brightened again. "Okay, Dad." They ordered their food and sat down to eat. Everything seemed fine until Lily accidentally knocked over her drink. The soda spilled across the table and onto the floor. The waitress rushed over, and instead of helping, she glared at Lily. "Look what you've done," the waitress snapped. "You spoiled brat. Can't you be more careful?" Julius froze for a moment, his hands shaking with anger. No one had the right to speak to his daughter that way. Without thinking, he stood up and slapped the waitress. "How dare you speak to her like that?" Julius shouted. The restaurant fell silent. Everyone stared at Julius in shock. The waitress held her cheek, looking stunned. "I'm calling the police," she yelled. Lily's eyes filled with tears as she clung to her father's arm. "Dad, no, please don't get in trouble again," she whispered. But it was too late. The police arrived and took Julius to the station once more. Lily cried the entire way, holding her father's hand tightly. When they arrived, the officers sat them down and began questioning Julius. One of the officers sighed and looked Julius in the eye. "Listen, Julius," he said calmly, "we understand you love your daughter, but your temper is becoming a problem. You've been in trouble for this before. If you don't control your anger, social services might take Lily away from you. Do you understand?" Julius's heart pounded in his chest. He couldn't bear the thought of losing Lily again. Tears filled his eyes as he nodded. "I understand," he whispered. Lily sat beside him, her face wet with tears. "Dad, please don't let them take me away," she begged. Julius hugged her tightly. "I won't, Lily, I promise." When they got home that night, Julius couldn't stop the tears. He sat on the edge of his bed, his head in his hands, and cried. Lily sat beside him, trying to be brave, but she couldn't hold back her own tears either. They cried together, their hearts heavy with fear and sadness. "I don't understand," Julius sobbed. "Why did God make me this way? Why can't I be like other people? I try so hard, but it's never enough." Lily looked up at her father, her eyes full of love. "Dad, you're the best dad in the world. I don't want anyone else but you." Julius wiped his tears and kissed her forehead. "Thank you, Lily. You're the only thing that keeps me going." But deep down, Julius felt like a failure. No matter how hard he tried, he couldn't seem to keep control of his temper. He wanted to be the best father for Lily, but it always seemed like life was against him. He worried constantly that one day his anger would push things too far, and Lily would be taken from him for good. That night, Julius prayed. He didn't pray often, but this time he begged God for strength. "Please help me be a better father," he whispered. One day at school, Lily was playing outside during recess when a girl from her class, Katie, walked up to her. Katie was known for being mean to other kids, and today she had decided to pick on Lily. "You're just the daughter of a nobody," Katie said, crossing her arms. "Your dad is nothing but a loser who always gets in trouble." Lily felt her heart race. Her face turned red with anger. No one talked about her dad like that. He was her hero, even if he made mistakes. She clenched her fists, trying to hold back her tears, but Katie wouldn't stop. "Everyone knows your dad is always getting arrested. My dad said he should be locked up for good. People like you don't belong here," Katie taunted. Lily had enough. Without thinking, she pushed Katie hard, and Katie fell backward. She hit her head on the ground with a loud thud and started crying. Blood trickled from where she hit her head. Teachers rushed over. The playground became silent as everyone stared at what had just happened. Lily stood frozen, her hands shaking. She didn't mean to hurt Katie. She just wanted her to stop saying those awful things about her dad. "Lily, what did you do?" one of the teachers shouted, rushing over to help Katie. Tears streamed down Lily's face. "I didn't mean to. She was being mean about my dad," she whispered, her voice trembling. Katie was taken to the nurse's office, and soon after, the school called the social workers. That afternoon, 2 of them arrived at the school and took Lily to their office. They had serious faces, and Lily knew something bad was going to happen. "We've been watching Julius for a long time," one of the social workers said. "It seems his behavior is starting to affect Lily. We can't let this continue." When Julius arrived at the office, his heart sank. He saw Lily sitting with tears in her eyes. The social workers told Julius that they believed his anger problems were rubbing off on Lily, making her violent too. "We're taking Lily into protective care," one of the social workers said. "Allow her to grow up in this environment." "No, please," Julius begged, falling to his knees. "Please don't take her away. She's all I have. I'm working on being better, I swear." But the social workers didn't listen. They took Lily away in a car, and Julius could only watch as she looked out the window, her face pressed against the glass, crying. He felt his world crumble around him. He had promised Lily he wouldn't let them take her, but now they had. At the social worker's office, Lily felt lost. She missed her dad so much. She didn't understand why they had to be apart. She thought about the mean things Katie had said, and her heart ached. She wasn't a bad person. She didn't want to be angry or hurt anyone. She just wanted to be with her dad. Julius, back home, spent his nights crying. He prayed and begged for help. He knew he had to change if he ever wanted to get Lily back. Every day felt like a piece of his heart was missing without her. He started going to anger management classes, determined to show the world that he could be the father Lily needed. Weeks passed, and Julius worked harder than he ever had before. He wrote letters to Lily, telling her how much he loved her and how he was working to be better. He wanted her to know he was fighting to bring her home. Julius was determined to get Lily back. He heard people talking about lawyers who could help families like his. So early the next morning, he put on his best clothes and headed to the office of Mr. Robinson, a lawyer well known in town. Julius had hope in his heart, thinking this might be the way to bring his little girl home. When he arrived at Mr. Robinson's office, the receptionist asked him to wait. Julius sat nervously in the waiting room, holding his hat in his hands. His heart raced with every passing minute, and after what felt like forever, the door opened and the lawyer called him in. Mr. Robinson was an older man with glasses, a serious expression on his face as he motioned for Julius to sit down. The office smelled of old books and leather, giving it an air of authority that only added to Julius's nerves. "How can I help you?" Mr. Robinson asked in a deep, steady voice. Julius took a deep breath, trying to hold back his emotions. "I need help getting my daughter back. The social workers took her, and I can't afford to lose her. She's my whole world. I just need someone to help me fight to bring her home." Mr. Robinson listened quietly, but his face showed no emotion. When Julius finished, the lawyer leaned back in his chair, tapping his fingers on the desk. "I understand your situation, but my services aren't free," he said. "There are fees for court, paperwork, and my time. This is going to cost you quite a bit of money." Julius's heart sank. "How much?" he asked softly. Mr. Robinson grabbed a notepad, scribbled a number down, and slid it across the desk. Julius stared at the paper, his hands trembling as he read the figure. It was far more than he could ever afford. His stomach twisted and his throat tightened. I don't have that kind of money," Julius whispered, his voice breaking. Mr. Robinson raised an eyebrow and leaned forward, his expression cold. "Then I can't help you," he said bluntly. "If you can't pay, I can't take your case. I have a business to run." Julius's chest tightened. He had come all this way, hoping for help, but now it felt like everything was slipping away. "Please, sir," he begged, his voice desperate. "I'm a good father. I've made mistakes, but I love my daughter more than anything. I don't have much, but I'll do anything. Please, just help me get my daughter back." Mr. Robinson stood up and walked to the door, opening it without a word of sympathy. "I'm sorry," he said coldly, "but if you can't pay, I can't help you. Now please leave." Julius's heart shattered. He slowly stood up, his legs feeling weak. Without another word, he walked out of the office, his head hanging low. Each step felt heavier than the last. When he got home, the weight of everything hit him like a wave. He sat down on his old, worn-out couch, staring blankly at the wall. The silence in the house was unbearable. No laughter, no Lily running around, no tiny voice asking him questions. The emptiness tore at his soul. Tears welled up in his eyes as he thought about his little girl. He missed her so much that it physically hurt. Her smile, her hugs, the way she always told him, "I love you, Daddy." It was all gone, and now, with no money for a lawyer, the chances of getting her back seemed impossible. Julius buried his face in his hands and sobbed. His whole body shook with the weight of his despair. "Why is this happening to me?" he cried. "I try so hard, but it's never enough. I just want my little girl back. Is that too much to ask?" The house felt cold and empty, and every corner reminded him of Lily. Her toys were still scattered on the floor, and her favorite blanket lay folded neatly on the couch. The memories of her laughter and the sound of her little feet running through the house filled his mind. But now all he had was silence, and it was tearing him apart. Julius spent hours crying, feeling helpless and alone. He thought about all the mistakes he had made, the times he had lost his temper, the fights he had gotten into, and he wished he could take it all back. He wished he could be the perfect father that Lily deserved. As the sun began to set, the house grew darker. Julius wiped his tear-stained face, but his eyes were red and swollen from crying so much. He stood up and looked around the empty room, feeling the crushing weight of his failure. But deep inside, a small flicker of determination remained. "I won't give up," he whispered to himself, his voice shaky but filled with resolve. "I can't give up on Lily." Even though he had no money, no lawyer, and no clear path forward, Julius knew he had to keep trying. He couldn't let this be the end. He had to find another way to bring his daughter home. The next morning, Julius woke up with a renewed sense of determination. His eyes were still puffy from crying the night before, but he couldn't let that stop him. He had to keep trying for Lily's sake. No matter how hopeless things seemed, he wasn't going to give up. He decided to go back to Mr. Robinson's office, hoping that somehow he could convince the lawyer to help him. Julius put on his same best clothes and walked the long distance to town. His heart pounded with anxiety as he approached the lawyer's building. When he got to the office, the receptionist was sitting at her desk, typing away on her computer. Julius approached her cautiously. "I'm here to see Mr. Robinson," Julius said, his voice soft but hopeful. The receptionist barely looked up from her screen. "The lawyer is not around today," she said, her tone sharp and dismissive. Julius's heart sank. "I'll wait for him," he said quickly, hoping Mr. Robinson would return soon. But the receptionist gave him a stern look and shook her head. "You can't stay here. We don't allow people to wait inside unless they have an appointment," she said. Julius felt like the ground was falling beneath his feet. He had come all this way, hoping for some miracle, and now he wasn't even allowed to wait inside. But he couldn't leave. He had no other choice. Julius stepped outside and sat by the door on the cold, hard ground. He pulled his knees to his chest and wrapped his arms around them, feeling the weight of the world pressing down on him. Time passed slowly. The sun climbed higher in the sky, and people passed by, some glancing at him, others ignoring him completely. Julius didn't care. His heart was heavy with worry for Lily. He stayed there for hours, not moving, just waiting. His clothes were getting dusty, and the hunger gnawed at him, but nothing mattered except the hope that maybe, just maybe, Mr. Robinson would come. As the afternoon rolled in, the lawyer's secretary finally stepped outside. She glanced at Julius, who was still sitting there, his face pale with worry and exhaustion. Her eyes softened, and she went back inside the office, picking up the phone to make a call. Not long after, Mr. Robinson arrived. The lawyer looked tired but serious, his usual no-nonsense expression still present. He saw Julius sitting there, and for the first time, something seemed to change in his face. There was a flicker of sympathy in his eyes. He stepped closer, and Julius quickly stood up, wiping his face and straightening his jacket. His heart raced as he waited for the lawyer to speak. Mr. Julius, Mr. Robinson said, his tone quieter than before. Come inside. Julius followed the lawyer into his office, his mind racing with uncertainty. When they sat down, Mr. Robinson folded his hands on the desk and let out a long breath. I've been thinking about our conversation the other day. I see how much this means to you, and I can tell you're trying your best. Julius swallowed hard, trying not to get his hopes up. I usually don't take on cases without payment, Mr. Robinson continued, but I felt pity for you after seeing you here today. I know you're a good father, and I want to help you. I'm willing to take your case, no payment needed. Julius's eyes widened in disbelief. His heart leapt in his chest, and for a moment he didn't know what to say. Tears welled up in his eyes, but this time they weren't from sadness, they were from relief. He had been given a lifeline, a chance to bring Lily home. Thank you. Thank you, sir, Julius stammered, his voice choked with emotion. I don't know how to repay you. You've saved me. Mr. Robinson nodded, but remained serious. Don't thank me yet. We still have a lot of work to do. I'll start looking into your case right away. But before we move forward, there's something you need to understand. Julius nodded, eager to hear what the lawyer had to say. From what I can see, the social workers will argue that you're not in a good financial position to take care of your daughter. They'll bring up your job, your living conditions, everything. For us to have a real chance of winning this case, you need to show the court that you can provide a stable and better life for Lily. That means either getting a promotion at work or finding a better paying job. Julius's heart dropped again. The relief he had felt moments ago started to fade. A better paying job. A promotion. His job was barely enough to keep food on the table, let alone give him a chance at moving up in the company. The idea of finding something better seemed impossible. But I've been at my job for years, Julius said, his voice trembling. I've tried getting promotions, but they never give me a chance. And other jobs, I don't know where to start. Mr. Robinson leaned forward, his voice firm but kind. I know this isn't going to be easy, but if you want to bring Lily home, you'll have to show the court that you can offer her a stable and secure environment. Without that, we don't stand much of a chance. Julius felt a lump forming in his throat. The weight of the lawyer's words pressed down on him, but at the same time, there was a glimmer of hope. It wasn't impossible, just hard. He had faced hard things before, and he had to believe that he could face this too. For Lily. I'll do it, Julius said after a moment of silence, his voice stronger than before. I'll find a way. I have to. Mr. Robinson nodded, satisfied with Julius's resolve. Good. I'll work on the legal side of things, but you focus on getting your work situation in order. We'll meet again soon to go over the next steps. Julius stood up, his legs shaky, but his heart full of determination. This was his chance. A real chance. As he left Mr. Robinson's office, the weight on his shoulders felt lighter than it had in weeks. He didn't know how he would do it, but one thing was clear. He wouldn't stop fighting until Lily was back in his arms. The next day, Julius went to work, determined to speak to his boss. When the time came, he knocked and entered Mr. Harris's office, explaining everything the lawyer had told him. Julius spoke about Lily, about how much he needed the promotion or a better job to bring her back. Mr. Harris listened, but gave a heavy sigh. He told Julius that he couldn't help him. He wasn't strong enough for the job. The company had only kept him around because of his daughter, but they couldn't give him more responsibility. Julius felt his heart drop. He thanked Mr. Harris and left the office, feeling defeated. For days, Julius searched for another job. He applied everywhere, from big companies to small shops. No one hired him. Some said there were no open positions, while others hinted at his condition, saying he wasn't strong enough for the work. One evening, Julius sat alone, feeling hopeless. He cried, wondering why life had to be this hard. He asked God why he made him the way he was, why he couldn't get a break, why nothing was working out. All he wanted was to bring Lily home. The house was too quiet without her. Agnes, his neighbor, heard Julius crying. She came in and sat with him. She listened to him pour out his heart, telling her how he couldn't get a promotion or a new job. He felt like he had failed Lily, like he was no longer strong enough to fight for her. Agnes reminded him that life could be tough, but he hadn't failed. She told him that God saw his efforts and that sometimes when things seemed darkest, all they could do was hold on a little longer. She promised to help him figure things out, and for the first time in days, Julius felt a small glimmer of hope. Agnes assured him that they would find a way to bring Lily home, no matter how hard it got. All Julius had to do was keep fighting. Julius went back to Mr. Robinson's office, his heart full of hope. He told the lawyer everything that had happened. Mr. Robinson listened closely, feeling bad for him. He admired Julius's determination to get Lily back. After a few days, Mr. Robinson had good news. Julius would be allowed to see Lily for 1 hour a week. It wasn't the full time together they both wanted, but at least it was something. When the day finally came for his visit, Julius arrived at the social worker's office. As soon as Lily saw him, her face lit up. They ran to each other, hugging tightly. Tears filled their eyes as they both cried with joy. In that moment, everything else faded away. Lily looked up at her father, her voice filled with hope. "Daddy, I want to go home with you. Let's run away to another city, just you and me." Julius's heart ached at her words. He wished more than anything he could take her home. "No, Lily, we can't. I need you to be strong. I'm working hard to bring you back, I promise. Just hold on a little longer." After their hour together, it was time for Julius to leave. As he walked away, tears streamed down his face. He felt helpless, missing Lily so much. He returned home, crying bitterly, feeling like he was letting her down. The next day, Julius went back to Mr. Robinson. The lawyer had a serious look on his face. "Julius, we only have 2 days to prove to the court that you can take care of Lily financially. If we can't show them that you can support her, you will lose her to the social workers." Julius's heart raced. 2 days. It didn't seem like enough time. "But how?" he asked, panic creeping into his voice. Mr. Robinson explained that they needed to find ways to show the court that Julius could provide for Lily, even if he didn't have a steady job yet. They could gather letters from friends, show his efforts to find work, and prove that he loved and wanted to care for her. Julius nodded, determination filling him. He knew he had to try. "I'll do whatever it takes," he said, feeling a flicker of hope again. When Julius got home, he was shocked to see a luxury car parked in his yard. He approached it cautiously and, to his surprise, saw Evelyn, Lily's mother, stepping out. She looked different, confident and elegant, dressed in a stylish outfit. Julius felt a rush of emotions. "Evelyn," he called out, unsure of what to say. Years had passed since she left, and now she stood before him, a stranger in some ways. Evelyn smiled softly. "I wanted to see how you and Lily are doing." Julius took a deep breath and explained everything. He told her about the struggles he faced, the social workers threatening to take Lily away, and the custody battle that weighed heavily on his heart. He shared the pain of being a single father and how he fought every day to keep Lily with him. Evelyn listened, her eyes filled with regret and compassion. "I'm so sorry for everything, Julius. I didn't realize how hard it had been for you. I had to fight my own battles to get where I am today," she said. "I regret leaving you and Lily. I'm here now because I want to help." Julius felt a flicker of hope. "You want to help? After all this time?" "I know I've made mistakes, but I've come back to make things right," Evelyn replied, sincerity in her voice. "Lily needs you," Julius said, tears forming in his eyes. "I've been fighting to keep her safe. The social workers want to take her away because they think I can't provide for her. I don't want to lose my daughter." Evelyn's expression softened as she realized the depth of Julius's struggles. "We can work together," she said. "Let's go to the lawyer and figure this out. I want to be there for both of you. Have the means to provide for her in ways I couldn't before. We can show the court that she belongs with me." Julius looked at her, uncertain. "You really think that's possible?" "I know it is," Evelyn said. "Let's go to Mr. Robinson's office together. We can figure this out." They drove to the lawyer's office, where Mr. Robinson welcomed them. After hearing their story, he nodded thoughtfully. "With Evelyn's support, you may have a better chance in court," he said. Evelyn confidently explained her wealth and stability to Mr. Robinson, emphasizing how she could provide a secure home for Lily. Julius felt a flicker of hope, but he was also afraid. He didn't want to lose Lily to Evelyn, even if she was her mother. The next day in court, the atmosphere was tense. Evelyn stood before the judge, radiating confidence as she spoke about her plans for Lily's future. She detailed her successful career and how she could provide a loving and stable home. Julius sat nervously, watching as the judge listened attentively to Evelyn's words. Deep down, he knew she had a strong case. The judge was impressed by her determination and her desire to be part of Lily's life. After the hearing, Julius felt a mixture of fear and sadness. He wanted what was best for Lily, but the thought of losing her to Evelyn was overwhelming. When the judge announced his decision, Julius's heart sank. Given the circumstances and Evelyn's stability, I have no choice but to award custody of Lily to her, the judge said. Julius's heart shattered. He looked at Lily, who was confused, not fully understanding what was happening. Evelyn, on the other hand, was filled with relief and gratitude. She rushed to hug Lily, whispering promises of love and care. Julius felt lost. He had fought so hard, but now he was left with nothing. After the court proceedings, Evelyn approached him. I know this is hard for you, Julius, but I want to co-parent. I want Lily to know both of us. You will always be part of her life. He nodded, trying to find some comfort in her words, but it was hard to let go. Just promise me you'll take care of her, he said. I promise, Evelyn replied, her eyes filled with sincerity. With that, she took Lily's hand, and they left the courtroom together. Julius stood alone, tears streaming down his face. It felt like his heart had been ripped apart. When Julius got home that evening, he was surprised to see Evelyn and Lily waiting for him. His heart raced at the sight of them. Evelyn looked at him and said she wanted to talk. Lily ran to him and hugged him tightly. Julius hugged her back and felt joy fill his heart. Evelyn explained that she was not there to take Lily away. She had gone to court to ensure Lily had a safe future. Julius felt a big weight lift off his shoulders. He could hardly believe it. Evelyn said they could work together to give Lily the best life possible. Tears filled Julius's eyes. He felt relief and gratitude. He thanked Evelyn, saying he never wanted to lose Lily. Evelyn then invited Julius and Lily to stay with her at her mansion. She said it was a big place, and they could create a happy home. Julius was surprised but excited. He couldn't believe how generous she was. That evening they drove to Evelyn's mansion. It was a beautiful house with big gardens. Lily's eyes widened in awe when they arrived. She exclaimed how big it was, and Evelyn welcomed them home with a warm smile. Inside, the mansion was bright and lovely. Julius felt a mix of wonder and joy as they settled in. After dinner, Evelyn spoke about Agnes, who had cared for Lily while Julius struggled. She wanted to recognize Agnes for her kindness. Julius agreed, saying Agnes had been his rock. He didn't know what he would have done without her. Evelyn wanted to give Agnes money for all her help. Julius felt overwhelmed at the thought. Evelyn arranged to meet Agnes the next day. When they arrived at Agnes's home, she looked surprised to see them. Evelyn thanked Agnes for everything she had done for Julius and Lily. She expressed how much it meant to her. Agnes seemed confused and said she only did what any friend would do. Evelyn handed her an envelope filled with money. Agnes's eyes widened in disbelief. She couldn't accept it. Evelyn insisted, saying Agnes deserved it. She had been a true friend, and Evelyn wanted to make sure she was taken care of too. Tears filled Agnes's eyes as she accepted the envelope. She felt touched and grateful for the unexpected kindness. Later, as they returned to the mansion, Julius felt hopeful. With Evelyn's support, he could build a better life for himself and Lily. He was thankful to have Evelyn back in their lives. That night, as Julius tucked Lily into bed, he realized they had a chance to create a happy family together. Although they were not partners, he felt ready to embrace the future with Evelyn and Lily by his side. Dear viewers, what lessons did you take away from this dramatic tale? We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed the story, give us a thumbs up, share it with friends, and hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to turn on notifications so you never miss out on our latest updates. Thanks for watching and stay blessed.